Welcome back. My guest today is Amanda Little, an author, journalist, Vanderbilt University professor, and the founder of Citizenship, a nonprofit, nonpartisan media platform for political teens and tweens. And if you don't know about this wonderful platform yet, and you have teens and tweens, you definitely want to tell them about them. Amanda, thank you again for zooming in with us today. I've gotten so caught up in this whole idea of these young people being so smart and having so much insight and into the world that they want to see. And before we went to the break, we were talking about one of your contests, which was about the flag and their ideas on what they thought a flag should represent. But in your second contest, you also talked about who some of their civic heroes were. And I would love to hear who they said.
I would love to share that. So we had amazing range of storytelling. We had some young people who wrote about their grandparents and parents as civic heroes. We had some who wrote about Yugon Sun, who is a South Korean activist. We had one young woman who wrote about John Krasinski and his show Some Good News, and how that helped her and her family through a tough loss in their family from COVID-19, the loss of a family member. We had a young woman who wrote about Tamika Mallory and her leadership as an activist, and we had a young poet who wrote about Muriel Rykesser, who's a poet. We had a young woman who wrote about James Baldwin as one of the great sort of visionaries for our moment.
I'm sorry, Amanda, but were you at all surprised by the people that they chose? Because many of those are people that I had not heard of, but obviously they knew about.
It was so inspiring to see how they interpreted this idea of civic heroism. And again, some saw that role of hero as very intimate in their own community, in their own household. And some saw them as a visionary from the past, whose words were so relevant and so powerful in the present. And I'll just share a little excerpt of this story by a young woman named Briones, who's 17, who wrote about the activist and author James Baldwin. She said, "James Baldwin is my civic hero because he has taught me that the beauty of the American identity lies in both the collective and the individual, the complicated and the straightforward, the perfect and the imperfect, the terrible and the great." And she talked about how American identities are so diverse, and that democracy is a process, and we have to work through the bad and the ugly parts of our society and culture to make it better, and to find the good in it. And she found all that inspiration and truth from the writing of James Baldwin.
Wow.
So that was just so inspiring to see these kids being able, their ability to see the dimension of the relationship of our present, our political present, with the past, and the relationship between our private lives and our public roles and responsibilities. And it took so much hope from reading their stories. And I invite you to go to citizenship.com, and you can see all the winners there and read their essays and see the flags. It really is, if you're needing some optimism and inspiration, let's look to our youth, because they have it.
Well, I tell you, I was so inspired reading them. I went there and just amazed at the wisdom of some of these young people. And it does give us hope that, yes, these are the leaders of our future. So maybe there's something really to look forward to. And I want to get into that a little bit more as to what you kind of gleaned from ultimately what you see in our young people. Well, we got to take another break. And when we come back, we've got so much more to talk about about citizenship, so many more good things that you do not want to miss. So stay with us and we'll be right back.